My guests are joining me right now. I will start with Mr. Johnpaul. Do you agree with him that the system is not dying?
Well, you have heard from even the people you interviewed yesterday. Some of them are telling you straight from the field. And we've done some work as the Nigerian Chamber of Commerce on this. At the baseline, we have been able to identify that there are a few challenges that are really taking a toll on the program as it is now. Because we're in a fast-paced economy now, the younger people are also losing their patience to stay on the apprenticeship for longer periods of time. Some of the masters too are beginning to be challenged, either by the economic downturn or any sort of thing. And when they don't settle these apprentices, they also try to give them a bad name, first of all, and they're making the matter, really precarious. So we think that the system is challenged by all ramifications. And at the Nigerian Youth Chamber of Commerce, we're concerned about this because we think that this is a vehicle that can create value systems for young people, can create opportunities for enterprise and job for the young people. So it's important that they can run through this program and then acquire the necessary vocational skills and entrepreneurship skills to be able to innovate their ways into the economy.
What are the things that we can learn? This Igbo business model, can it be replicated?
There are critical issues that we need to bring to bear as we discuss this. First of all, of course, Imu Ahia was there way before the Civil War. They became prominent post the Civil War. Why? Because the Igbos were really affected by the war and they needed to rally themselves together. And they used trade as a basis for rallying themselves together. And a lot of adults, lost their lives too, and there were children and younger people who were left behind. And so uncles and relations had to take care of those people. And the only vehicle to sustain such engagements, was trade. And so it became really prominent. And the way we're looking at it is, in modern times, from 1970 to next year, Imu Ahia will be 50 years. Why we're concerned about that is we want to beam the searchlight on it and look at what it has achieved, in the traditional, raw, cultural form. And then, because today we're all saying that it's been interrogated by modernism, which is a big issue that is also contributing to its waning effect, we think that, yes, it can be modernized. And how do we think this can be done? If you look at our situation in Nigeria, there are over 1.8 million young people that graduate from the universities every year. And only 30% of those go on to get jobs. Now, what happens to the other 70? They do not have life skills, they do not have entrepreneurship skills, they do not have vocational skills. So they're more than stranded. They're not just unemployed, they're really stranded citizens. And we think that this Imu Ahia, if it's modernized, it can be a vehicle to be able to absorb this guy. The modernization simply addresses all the issues of the modern society. One, we dare to say there's nothing Igbo about Imu Ahia. What makes Imu Ahia work is the embedded principles that lie therein. They now happen to be domiciled with the Igbo culture, and it's a good thing for us to learn from. Now, by learning from that, what we want to do is, what are those principles that have made us successful over all these years? And so we take a person like Erisco that we're talking to them, we look at him and he tells us his story of where he started from grass to where he is in grace today. And we see that he was settled with a little amount of money, but then he was able to grow that fund over a long period of time, and he has, become a successful business person today and becomes a role model, a business role model. What can we learn from this? He will tell you stories about disciplines he had to endure. He will tell you about the values he had to learn. He will tell you about all the challenges he faced and how he dared and stood in their faces. He will tell you about the things he endured. Why? Because he had a goal ahead of him. Now, there's something that's very important I'd like to bring to bear here today. Young people in this country too are beginning to lose the essence of process in getting things done, because there's a hammer mentality in the society. Even the young people who are going through Imu Ahia in modern day today are beginning to lose their patience. They can't wait for that long. Why? Because they see people who are false role models in society with sudden wealth, unexplained wealth, and they want to become like these guys, and they think that the process of going through Imu Ahia to get to that point is too long. And so when they lose that, they begin to lose the essence of their lives. And we think that if we bring this to bear in the public domain and put it there as a public discourse, and we say, look, this can be nationalized. This can be adopted for national, scaling up nationally. So that the guy in Zuru, the guy in Boko, the guy in Zakiba, who decides to use this model would also work. By modernizing it, we would create a framework for those principles.
If you have a family that has the wherewithal, would you consider that system or that model still a way to go?
Absolutely. And I can tell you that I know not 5, maybe more than 10 of young Igbo graduates who went to read first-grade courses, pharmacy, law. Some even read medicine and dropped their certificate and went to enroll for the Imu Ahia program.
Of course.
And they are running their businesses, they are happy, they're driving, they're following their vision. So yes, it just goes to, this situates clearly into what we're talking about, the modernity. International Labour Organization has also profiled apprenticeship. This is why this debate is also of modernity is important. So there are expectations. By the time you talk about institutionalizing this, then the whole world is going to now beam the searchlight on this. It's run informally now, and that's okay. People are running it in different clusters and all of that. But the moment you talk about institutionalizing it, then there has to be a framework. And that framework has to be designed to fit with international treaties that are accepted and standards all over the world. And so clearly for us, the focus would be on young people who, because entrepreneurship, it's an opportunity for Nigeria to unite itself across all boards. Why? Because when you're talking entrepreneurship and you're talking resources on the table, nobody cares if you're a Muslim or you're a Christian or you're a Yoruba or Igbo. We understand the common interest that comes with the dividends of entrepreneurship. And we think that this is the only vehicle or the most veritable vehicle to create economic strength for Nigeria. And young people hold the bane for that.
All right, just before we go, a few seconds as we conclude, because we have to go.
Fundamentally, the difference between the apprenticeship model and government intervention is the fact that the apprenticeship model forms character of the proteges over time. They are ready, they practice on the field, they have got their hands on the table before money is being handed to them. Sadly, on the contrary note, the government interventions do not put their beneficiaries through that sort of character formation, so they dump money on them when they're not ready, and those monies fizzle out, and those programs are never successful. So what we're saying essentially is X-ray the apprenticeship model, scale it up for adoption nationwide, and let it be utilized everywhere with a modern framework.